Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm the real heavyweight champion.
That'd be the best of me. More to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19.
That was pretty hard. And look at Buddy going to work now. Oh.
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Billy Corgan's NWA. What is going on? Well, we got a weird one. I had to push back Halloween Havoc to another week because of our weird scheduling for Power here. Now, we are now running Power on Tuesdays, so back to normal. Not doing the airing Friday, airing Tuesday thing. It ended up getting a little more complicated than I thought because of the week gap and then running the pay-per-view the same week, and I didn't want to have to deal with that. So this is going to be a weird one. I don't know how I don't know how the game's going to handle this because we're technically going to air a Power tonight, but I think today also airs another Power. So I don't know if we're just going to get screwed. I don't know if the game's going to explode as we both put on and air a Power tonight while also airing last week's. We'll see. Either way, Halloween Havoc will happen at the beginning of November. Sure. Makes sense. I don't know. So, looking at our finances, not as horrible as I would expect. Certainly not in the positive that we were last time. Now, we've only been getting about like 4K from pay-per-views, so we're not expecting much of a bump here. Though, actually, looking at this, our sponsorships aren't fully in here. We may dip back up to our older amount of actual cash flow, which is kind of exciting considering the additions that we put in. I don't know what it's gonna look like for running CZW now, though, because don't they have their own cash flow issues? They're negative 3,000, so we're gonna absorb that loss into there. That could be problematic. What's going on with them that they are? Where are they losing their money here? Workers, technically, production, maybe. We might. Can we jump into them real quick? Let's see. Schedule, house shows, own broadcaster, broadcasting. What do they got? They're running Wired. Okay. Company info. I can't seem to change their. Yeah, I mean, hybrid hardcore is whatever. I was kind of hoping I could change their performance or their how the show looks, their production qualities, but there doesn't seem to be an option for that. That would be a way to reduce their funds. Now, in terms of contract work, let's look at what we're looking at in terms of pay-per-show. Nobody aggressively bad. I might pull AR Fox out and Crazy Mary. Because there's no reason to pay both of them already on our main roster. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, everyone's real happy with that. We're gonna let them go off of that one. We're also gonna let Crazy Mary off of that contract. I don't know if that's going to make them upset at us now. Annoyed. Not annoyed at anything that we did. Causing an injury being left off a Great American Bash. Were you left off a Great American Bash? Did we do that to you all the way back then? I guess so. But not upset with us now, which is the important thing. So that might help stem some of the cash flow problems with their show. They're not. I know a lot of people are upset here, but that's fine. Chilly, cold, momentum cooled, morale annoyed. They can be annoyed. That's going to be somebody else's problem. I don't see any other glaring issues in terms of their roster. For the most part, I think that's probably not going to be a big issue. I'm going to keep Hyde here for now, though we will look in the future to change who is running it. They're not doing any house shows, are they? Good. So other than that, it's just a matter of, their cash flow issues from just not making enough money. We can absorb of like 4K is not the end of the world by any stretch of imagination. I don't know where that will get absorbed into. If that just gets bottled up, maybe miscellaneous. General admin, investments. It might end up showing up under investments, potentially. Not taxes, not training. I don't think, because that'd be a training facility. We don't really have any alliance costs, except for some admin fees whenever we do anything. So, what is media? One-off running costs per show, and then fine. Okay. So, don't know where that's going to come in. Whether it's lumped in somewhere else, maybe in show costs, or something like that. It doesn't look like it's going to be that expensive. We can absorb their loss for a while. We do have a cushion. Nothing to really worry about too much, I don't think. But it is something to keep an eye on. We also have Sheamus, who is yet to debut. I think he's still running out his contract at WWE. So that's something to kind of keep a look at. Check the news here. Nyla Rose vanquishing trolls. Nothing else really going on to worry about. I should always check. Is it diary? No. I would like to check. I always forget to check this, but should always check the news and just look for workers leaving. So obviously, Chris Jericho is loaned to Championship Wrestling. Just seeing if there is anybody substantial. I know some people were saying maybe some of the BJW people. I don't know a lot of these guys, but it's definitely something that we might look into. Sasha is roaming around the indies after we kind of let them go. A lot of us letting people go from the tournament. Sakaya, gone. Did we know this already? Unemployed. It'd be actually completely useless to us. It'd be completely. Though we could pick up Kane, I suppose. I might actually also bring back the employment. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I feel like I'm cheating by not having the employment records, even though I think, or the employment restrictions where some people can't leave, even though I feel like the wrestling landscape is more international than it's ever been. And also, I'm trying to talk myself out of it. And also the fact that, like, I don't think these mods do a good job of making people exclusive. Like, you're really telling me, I mean, Toriano is available pretty much everywhere, but not Britain or Europe. Why? They have a contract with Rev Pro. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that he could work everywhere, but randomly these locations because we've decided it. Doesn't really make much sense. Kane is hireable. Would Kane join us? That's a lot of money. Kane and well, it'd be an interesting new general manager. We're just gonna add that to the short list. I don't know what we would do with him, but it's an option. I know someone was talking about it a couple weeks ago of how interesting that would be. And then Conor McGregor is floating around. Yeah, there's some interesting random. I mean, obviously Kenny, I think, is still exclusive in AAA. So unfortunately, you end up seeing stuff often in here that are. When did we have him? We loaned him at one point. We must have loaned him. I don't remember. A lot of these are loans and things like that had occurred over the course of the game. Interesting to see, but not always that helpful. But it is important to take a look at. Something I should look at a little bit more so I don't get caught blindsided when a big potential hire doesn't show up. And we do have some decisions. Colt Cabana wants a raise. So 50% he'll be a little upset, 75 he'll be fine, and he'll be really happy with a full request. So let's just do 75. Nothing to note from that. It's fine. We'll do it. We'll be okay. We have way too many people on our roster right now. I can't wait to get rid of the tournament just so I don't have so many people. It's hard to keep track of who is all here, but we'll make do with it. All right, so we got a go-home show today, and then we're heading into Halloween Havoc. I don't know how the game's going to handle us running two shows at the same time. We'll see if this just breaks everything. Another pay raise request from Skylar Shore. Give you the whole shebang for your hot dog. One other thing I wanted to look at before we really get started, we were talking about the authors of Pain. I don't know if they are available. They're still exclusive written. Someone was looking at them in the past. So I'm just going to add them because they're weird. I'll dig them. They're pretty good value for us. But unfortunately not someone we can grab yet. Still looking for interesting tag teams. I think our tag team division's kind of meh right now. War Machine's fine, but honestly, I could just get rid of them now and be fine. The Von Eriks have been fun, but have a limited lifespan. Warhausen, yes. Ascension, I love, but we haven't really utilized much. Starks and Storm, wow, we didn't even do anything with these guys. I forgot that we even had that at one point. Contra units pretty much broken up. So we will make that an inactive unit. An FTR. So we really have FTR, the Ascension, Rock and Roll Express, not really. They're still hanging around as road agents, and maybe an occasional act. So it's really Ascension, Von Eriks, and War Machine, and kind of Warhausen. It's a little weak. It's a little weak of a division. We probably should look at getting in the union here, getting a tag team where we have sort of the group. Kingston obviously would be. I mean, so the way to do stables well, which is not something I'm saying I do well, is to try to have a representative of each division, right? So Kingston would be your leader and would be going for your main gold. Starks as the deputy should be going for the mid-card title, or in this case, the alliance title. And then your members or lackeys, like lackeys are people that take the pins so they don't get hurt. Your other members should be taking your tag titles. So we got a kind of a problem where we don't have another member. Maybe it's Royce Isaacs, but we need somebody else to pair with Matt Cross. Maybe it's Ty Ray. Ty Ray. doesn't have a lot of popularity, but maybe we boost them up to maybe make Royce Isaacs the lackey, modify Tyree into more of just a general member. You also can do fodder, support, that kind of thing. There's a whole bunch of different options depending on what you want to do. So the strength of a stable is calculated by looking at all members except lackeys and fodder. They don't count as much. They're basically there to eat the pin. And then leaders are disproportionately important. There's a lot of cool subgroups, so you can have like different cults. Cults basically are very focused on the leader versus everybody else. A gang, everyone's kind of split up. But for the most part, you kind of want your lackeys to be the people that are just there to eat the pin. So Royce Isaacs is sort of there as a person that can get murdered and not really affect the group. So actually Eriks should probably be the lackey in the Smoking Aces. But like we would need another person in Smoking Aces to really fit right, because you would have like Austin would be going for the main belt, Breeze would probably be going for the Alliance belt. You want someone to eat the pin, and then 2 people for the tag team. Eriks should really be the one eating the pin when needed. And Ziggy Dice should just be a member. So we need another another sort of magic-based wrestler that we need to find out there. Where's Phantasmo? Where's oh god. I mean that actually would work okay, but who was that wrestler from WWE in the 90s that did like a bunch of weird magic tricks? I'm trying to think of who it was. What was his name? The Spellbinder? Or no, Fantasio? Is that it? He's still alive? Was it Harry Del Rios? No? Okay. Is he even in existence anymore? He's not. He just doesn't. That would have been a good option to get in. But so we have some disproportionate issues with our stables, and maybe finding teammates for them might be helpful. It might be something that we build to after Halloween Havoc. But if you guys got ideas, let me know. All right, enough meandering and rambling here. Let's get to power. So we finished second out of third. No bonuses or penalties. Not horrible, but would be a lot better elsewhere. So it looks like it skipped last week. The game figured out what to do. Aired that one show, and we are now going to be running into our live episode of Power tonight. So that works okay. I was worried it was just gonna explode. All right. No, we are not going to be in Full Sail. Stop it. Every time it wants Full Sail. Okay. We do have a backstage incident involving Natty Neidhart and something about passing a protege to Josh Wood. Josh Wood still work here? I forgot that he's still here. We should do something with him. Poor guy has not worked in months. So Natty Neidhart lived in the locker room when a silly game she created quickly became very popular backstage. I guess she was filming Among Us or something. And then protege work with Josh Woods, passing on tips with his protege. Poor Josh Wood. You poor man. How mad are you? Please. Hasn't done a goddamn thing. Considered unimportant. Is this our... can we rebrand Josh Woods into some kind of magician? is the final man for the NWA. We're gonna put him on the show. I don't know what we're gonna do with him. I forgot that he was even here, but by God, we're gonna give him something to do tonight. I feel absolutely horrible now. All right, let's book this go home show. We got a couple hanging storyline beats kind of going out here. We have to kind of build that final push between AR Fox and Lance Archer. We got the Smoking Aces story still kind of going on. And I should check. Did not check the medical. Can we check medical now? How is Eli Drake doing? It's being worked through. He's going to be fine in 5 days. So the show's in 4. It's probably fine. I think we could go on with the show with Drake in the main event, and we should be okay. All right. Let's get on with the show. All right, guys, we got a pretty much packed show here. Kind of a weird main event, but could be kind of cool. We'll see how it goes. Let's, without much further ado, get into the show. We got 3 pre-shows, all 3 for the Circle Square tournament. Again, we're still just using a coin flipper app to decide for this round, which makes things kind of interesting. My hope is that by the end of this entire tournament, we have a final that is just wild. We have no idea what it's going to look like, right? So, Chris Bay versus Joe Doering. It does okay, but it's fine. Non-existent crown heat, though. Chris Bay defeats Joe Doering in 6 minutes. Moves on in the tournament. After that, we got Alexander Hammerstone versus Richard Holiday. Good wrestling, decent reaction from the crowd. Richard Holiday, who I don't know at all. I know Hammerstone, but I'm not familiar with this guy at all. Someone could probably enlighten me in the comments about what his deal is. He defeats Alexander Hammerstone in 8 minutes of pinfall. Richard Holiday's got a 53, not too bad. Hammerstone had a 56. Both had very good in their gimmicks. Unfortunately, Hammerstone's ride on this train has ended. Segment is fantastic for a pre-show, though. And we got RJ City versus Gabriel Kidd. This match kind of sucks. Terrible wrestling, non-existent crowd heat. RJ City defeats Gabriel Kidd in 9 minutes. Both of them have pretty underwhelming performances. RJ City's gimmick was a great, which is good because he's moving on. And Kidd's doesn't really matter, but it was awful. Ooh, this is bad. I keep on forgetting that he is not good off script. We have a opening of the show where Danhausen realizes that he needs to book a match before Halloween Havoc, and decides to issue a number 1 contendership for the Denny's Grand Slam Lumberjack Championship tonight. 4-way between his 4 hand-picked competitors to face him in the challenge at Halloween Havoc. Said 4 competitors are Josh Woods, Warhorse, Colt Cabana, and Austin Gunn. It's a poor match, but Colt Cabana defeats Josh Woods, Warhorse, and Austin Gunn after pinning Austin Gunn with a Colt 45. Yeah, they're all about even. Colt Cabana actually is technically the better in-ring performer of the bunch. Does okay. And now gets to challenge him in the Denny's Grand Slam Lumberjack Championship. Afterwards, we got AR Fox, our Alliance champion, in an exhibition match on the Go Ho show between him and Matthias Breeze. It's pretty good. Good wrestling, decent reaction from a crowd. AR Fox defeats Matthias Breeze in 11 minutes. AR Fox had a 62. Matthias had a 45. We actually advance the story for Eddie and his union, his empire building. And a little, don't advance AR Fox, but we give him a win as we decide what to do at the tournament. I still, or not the tournament, the show, I just don't know if he's going to lose or win. Honestly, it's going to be down to the wire. I could probably see Lance Archer beating him, but AR Fox has a lot of momentum going behind him too. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys would like to see, and maybe I'll make a decision on there. Does Lance Archer maintain and retain the belt again, or will AR Fox become our new Alliance champion? Is it the right time for him? Good performance. I don't think Lance Archer would say no if we put him over, even if we just made Lance Archer look strong. But we'll never know. We'll have to see what happens. Afterwards, we have a post-match with just Fox grabbing a microphone saying that he is still coming for the Alliance belt. A little beatdown is not going to stop him, and he will not lose twice. No Lance Archer on the show, though, to attack him. It's a 41. His mic work could be a little bit better. Afterwards, we got two big meaty men slapping meat with Miro and Ryback. Had great heat and good wrestling. Miro drew with Ryback in 8 minutes after a double disqualification. Just both of them outside on the ring too long. Just the fight. They've kind of had this weird back and forth the last couple weeks where they just kind of can't seem to one-up each other. They can't follow the rules. It's a 61. It's a pretty great segment, actually. Miro had a 62. Ryback had a 49. Oh, right, we still have this storyline. This is kind of done, though. Even though, we'll have to figure it out. But got the crowd hotter, though. Overall, not that bad. I think I might just rename this to Big Meaty Men Slap Meat and use that for the storyline. Afterwards, we have a match with Pentagon Dark versus Jason Cade. Poor Jason Cade was fed to Pentagon in 6 minutes. The match ended with a stoppage when Jason Cade was so beat up that he could not continue any further. We did have Brodie Lee run in and attack Pentagon at the very end of the match, which leads, even though it was kind of at the end, the stoppage still happened, which will lead into a post-match angle. So 62 had Pentagon at 67, Jason Cade had a 31. Afterwards, we got Brodie Lee attacking Pentagon, listening to his cult leaders, advice from the last week of saying, like, listen, you have to defeat Pentagon. If you have what it takes to survive, you have to prove that you are ready for what comes ahead. And he attacks him brutally and viciously and almost rips his mask off. Pentagon ends up retreating with blood kind of trickling out of his mouth and his half-ripped mask. And he smiles. He smirks at Brodie Lee. It's almost like he wants it. And overall, Pentagon worked well, improvised very well in the segment and sort of the acting of the situation. Brodie Lee looked good out there. Had a 59. Again, really good segment. Heavy angle show, and I'm curious to see how that affects our show. I think we only have a couple matches, so we will see how it affects it. But so far, I'm enjoying how highly rated these segments are. This is an okay match too. Madison Eagles and Nicole Matthews, aka Thought Crimes, are out there fighting Ashley Vox and Kimberly. Didn't have much heat, but had pretty good wrestling. Ashley Vox and Kimberly defeat Thought Crimes in 8 minutes. Ashley Vox actually gets the pin. And they're all did pretty well. We advanced the storyline of Thought Crimes, and probably, though this is not one is leading into the pay-per-view, you're going to have to imagine that Ashley getting the win is going to have them target her, and see how that will play out. Gives the crowd a breather. Gets us a 53. Pretty great segment. Also a great segment. Man, they were just banging out here. We got Pillman and Eli Drake, the challenger with a broken jaw with the NWA champion, and they're in a dueling interview, kind of a cordial sit-down video. And the interviewer asks a major question of, why do you think you deserve to be the NWA champion? For both the challenger and the retainer and the holder. You know, what makes you special enough to still either hold the title or to challenge for it. And it's an honest interview. You know, these two guys are kind of faces, so they don't have that much animosity to each other. But Pillman, you know, they both kind of have chip on their shoulders too, and they kind of show it. Pillman Jr. says, you know, it's a cliche, but my blood, sweat, and tears are on that mat. And for 3 years, I've climbed the ladder in this company with the biggest goal always just outside my grasp. Every time I tried, every time I was so close, something always stopped. Outside interference, nonsense, distractions, behind-the-scenes shenanigans. Ever since I debuted, there was always a phantom behind me. It was always something that lingered in people's minds in the crowd. The idea that I was only here because of who my father was. But in the last 3 years, I've carved my own path, and the title represents that all those naysayers are wrong, and they're wrong today. And I'm not going to let them think I'm just some one-time wonder. I'm holding this title until I physically can't anymore. Drake, listening to it, responds to his same question. And he says, you know, I actually have a lot of respect for Pillman. Usually in these situations, people want to hear all the dirt, all that backstage drama. This guy hates that guy. Oh, you know, they can't stand each other. Oh, they're behind the scenes. They can't even speak to one another or look each other in the eye. But honestly, we're a lot alike. We're both people that never really got their dues. My career's a lot longer than his. But the same kind of paths happen. We've always been looked over. We've always been second-guessed. We've never really gotten that opportunity to break out into the popular culture. I'm not going to act like I don't respect him or I don't think he's a threat. I get it. I get him. I respect him. I know he's a challenge. But also, I want him to know, I want the world to know, that I'm not just going to roll over because he deserves it. He feels like he deserves it. A champion needs to be challenged. And I'm going to challenge him. And I'm going to fight to get what I've earned as well. And at the end of the day, when all the smoke's cleared, the best man will win. So, kind of a cool promo of just two faces. Generally, they don't hate each other. They respect each other. You know, this is not a match where people are going to get beat up, angry. We're not doing the sports entertainment thing. It's just about two guys that believe they should be the top guy, that both deeply respect each other, that both deeply know that each other's going to be a challenge, and they're going to face each other. The performance was good. Eli Drake was masterful. Got the crowd hotter. Great segment. I'm curious from you guys, who do you think's going to win? Who do you think going into Halloween Havoc? Who's got the advantages? Is Pillman going to retain? Is Drake going to finally get his due? Is there going to be a third party that disrupts it? You know, what do you think's going to happen? I'm kind of curious. So, we move on to Eddie Kingston versus Ziggy Dice, head of the Union, versus a member of Smoking Aces. Smoking Aces previously had brutally assaulted Kingston, and now he gets a little bit of retribution as he defeats Ziggy Dice in 5 minutes and 55 seconds by pinfall with a backdrop driver. Eddie Kingston had a 49, Ziggy Dice had a meager 35, and we end the segment with a 45 rating. Afterwards, Eddie Kingston just starts to assault Ziggy Dice with a chair. This segment's a pretty low rating here. He repeatedly smashes the chair into Ziggy Dice's arm, which he had worked over during the match, before setting his elbow in between the chair seat and the backrest, and starts pushing down on the backrest with his foot. His attempt with the intent to essentially snap the arm or even pulverize the elbow. And he kind of taps it a little bit, a little thud, and with the intent of definitely going to pulverize it if he smashes as hard as he can into the arm. And he calls for a microphone, gets tossed to him, and he calls out the Smoking Aces. Ace Austin does come out with the crew, obviously looking pissed that his teammate is in this predicament. Kingston, angry, shouts at him, "Oh, so you don't like it when your boys get downed, huh?" And he whacks Ziggy a bit on his back with his leg, with his boot, kind of making him squirm in pain a little bit more before going back to apply the pressure on his elbow. He tells him, "We ain't playing no more. It's gonna be like this. If you don't want your boy to lose an arm, then we're gonna have some retribution. It's time to put up and shut up. I want a match with you. Anything goes. And I want that Founders Clause, that title, to be on the line." Austin looks like he's going to refuse, and Ziggy looks shocked as he's about to walk away, and basically say, "Yeah, you can break his arm if you want. I'm not giving up this title." But his two other teammates kind of coerce him to come back and to accept. They look absolutely betrayed almost at the prospect that Austin would just let one of their members get injured. And so Austin reluctantly accepts to take the challenge, and at Halloween Havoc he will be putting up the Founders Championship in a match against Eddie Kingston. So, kind of an interesting element here because, while the actual belt itself sort of doesn't normally get changed, doesn't get challenged for, there's nothing that prevents anyone from putting it on the line. So Kingston essentially made him bet it in, kind of ante up. And we'll have to see how that shakes out. Both teams have teammates that can run in for interference. It's going to be a hardcore match, which sounds like it's Kingston's jam, but Austin also has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. So it's going to be kind of an interesting match. Unfortunately, this segment underperforms, which I kind of thought would have done a lot better. This segment does wonderfully, though. Danhausen is in the back in his office, playing with action figures on his desk when both big old men come storming in, angry at their double DQ tonight. They demand a rematch, and for Danhausen to do something about this. They keep on kind of drawing, tying, they keep on trading blows. There's no definitive winner. They both want to be the biggest, meatiest man in the ring, and they can't seem to do anything about it. Miro basically starts with just saying this is bullshit, in which Danhausen says no swearing and throws an action figure at Miro. It hits him in the forehead and he no-sells it, only just looking angrier, which forces Danhausen to retreat behind his chair, peeking out from behind it as though it somehow will protect him. He goes, listen, two big guys, yes, you're all strong, but you don't follow the rules. No good. Double DQs do not equal money. But I have an idea. Halloween Havoc. Match. Locked together. Shark Tank. Wait, no. Not enough space. Regular tank. Maybe cage. Yes. No DQ. No countouts. Only a winner. Who is the biggest of the big men? They both look at each other and seem to agree that this match will be fine. So we have at Halloween Havoc, Miro versus Ryback in a cage match. The winner finally being determined who is the biggest man in the NWA. Danhausen for some reason did perfectly fine going off script here. So I don't know in terms of consistency why he fumbled the last time. We actually lose a little heat with this controlling interest storyline, which again, we're not really actually utilizing. We got to clean that up. After that, we have a angle where the Von Eriks have a contract signing with FTR, with Kevin Von Erich sort of mediating between the two, and somehow nothing breaks out. No tables get flipped. They both sign after kind of speaking, and we get our official tag team match declared, where the Von Eriks will have to face FTR for the titles at Halloween Havoc. Yeah, not much to say about it. Does okay. And our main event, which is not bad overall, we have a triple threat to determine the number one contender for the women's match definitively, which I don't think we did before, but if we did, oh well. I'm starting to think that maybe we did and I just overbooked it twice. But Crazy Mary versus Tessa Blanchard versus Thunder Rosa to definitively determine the number one contendership. Crazy Mary defeats Tessa and Thunder in 15 minutes. Thunder struggling in this match pretty harshly, but also gets the pin. Crazy Mary had a 57, Tessa had a 57, and Thunder Rosa had a 38. Interesting element is Tessa wanted to complain and was upset about losing, but Crazy Mary actually legitimately intimidated her into shutting up, which is kind of fun. We advance our storyline. Thunder Rosa seemed to offer game segments of 48, could have been better. We end the show with Natty Neidhart coming out to attack the winner. Obviously, the person she's going to be challenging, but Crazy Mary actually gets the upper hand, beating her down and actually stealing the belt and walking away with it. So I don't know if she thinks that means that she won already, or if she's going to, if she's going to try to deny the belt to Natty, but she just walks away with the belt. We gain heat for the storyline. We end the show, the 46. It's kind of a wildly... I don't know how the show's going to shake out in the score. 54, not bad. We had a better show last week, but overall, still not too bad. Looking at a lot of green here, which is nice. Not a lot of bright green, no bright green, but we're reducing our yellows, which are usually our underperformers. So overall, pretty successful show. All right. Show went down excellently, which is good. Ryback does not like Nicole Matthews, says she's too small. We drew a .04, which is not too bad. So overall, not a horrible show. I'd like to look at our finances. So our financials ended up going just shy of positive for October. Got 7,000 up after getting the remainder of our sponsorship. So, we're not making a ton of money like we used to. A lot of that does have to do with eating the expenses for CZW. But overall, we don't necessarily have to grow that much in terms of finances. Kind of curious to look at their money situation now and see what they're looking at. But overall, I think that's totally a tenable situation we're in now. Where is finances? View company, not in tour company. I swear we just looked at it. Was it actually in child company? Might have been here. Roster, broadcast, and ticket prices. I can't remember where the hell we found it. No, we found it before. I thought it was in the View company. And not show history, not size. I swear we just found it. It doesn't matter. I will look at it after, in between the shows or beginning of the next show. But overall, finance-wise, seem to be doing better here after that initial purchase. And, if we're only making about $8,000, that's not the end of the world, overall. We didn't even have our pay-per-view, which would have given us an extra $4,000, because that's going to end up getting lumped into November because of the first week. So overall, financially not looking horrendous by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with that. All right, guys, I will see you for Halloween Havoc, which will be a pretty big show, I think. Got that in like 3 days on here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.